So, liebe Geschwister, bevor wir mit der Question and Answer beantworten können. Bevor wir aber zu dieser Fragerunde kommen, habe ich noch ein Anliegen in eigener Sache. Und zwar stellt euch vor, ihr seht in eurem Umfeld eine Schwester oder einen Bruder, die ihr sehr gut kennt. Und auf einmal wird sie eine Bettlerin. Ja, fragt euch, was will er? Und zwar ist es immer nach islamischen Veranstaltungen. Wenn ich mit meinen Geschwistern oder mit meinen Kindern ins Kino gehe, dann kostet so ein Ticket ungefähr wie viel? 8 Euro? Familientag 6. Haben Sie das? Familientag 6. Meine Kinder sagen dann immer, Papa, 3D. 3D kostet Zuschlag. Liebe Geschwister, das ist 3D. Und dann gibt es immer noch diese Filme mit Überlänge. Bruder Nouman war heute um 12:30 Uhr in der Moschee und jetzt ist es genau 7,5 Stunden später. Das ist Überlänge. Und jedes Mal, wenn wir so eine Veranstaltung machen, stellen wir uns die erste Frage ist, wie wir das finanzieren. Und ich möchte deswegen den Sponsor vorstellen dieser Veranstaltung. Guckt alle nach rechts und alle nach links. Ihr seid die Sponsoren, inshallah. Deswegen, es gibt Geschwister mit grünen Kisten. Hebt mal die Kisten hoch, liebe Geschwister. So, das sind die Geschwister mit den grünen Kisten. Da sind Schlitze drin für die Münzen. Aber Bruder Nouman stört das, wenn das so klimpert. Ja? Deswegen, inshallah, damit wir solche Veranstaltungen in Zukunft machen können, ohne uns Gedanken darüber zu machen, ob er auf irgendeiner Matratze schläft oder in einem Hotel, ob er mit dem Bus kommen muss oder doch mit dem Flugzeug, ja, gibt uns inshallah diesen Freiraum, inshallah spendet heute Abend einen minimalen Beitrag. Stellt euch vor, ihr seid im Kino und was nehmt ihr mit aus dem Kino? Der Bruder hat das gesagt, wenn ich meine Kinder einlade ins Kino, dann kriege ich die Sadaqa inshallah von Allah, dass ich meine Kinder unterhalten habe. Aber was ist am Tag der Auferstehung an der Waage? Wer heute hier nichts mitgenommen hat, von dem wollen wir nichts. Wer heute nichts mitgenommen hat, von dem wollen wir nicht. Der Islam ist eine Religion, wo jeder Muslim, jeder Mensch immer mehr nimmt, als er gibt. Stimmt das oder nicht? Jeder nimmt mehr, als er gibt. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, er will nie mehr von uns, als Allah uns gibt. Deswegen, inshallah, gehen jetzt die Boxen rum, die werden weitergegeben. Und ihr wisst, das ist peinlich, wenn man die einfach weitergibt. Inshallah, die werden weitergegeben. Und inshallah, jeder, der nicht kann und der nicht möchte, inshallah, ist unser Gast. Und das ist wirklich nur für die Geschwister, inshallah, die heute hier viel mitgenommen haben. Deswegen, inshallah, spendet reichlich. Und für die Geschwister, die danach fragen, ja, aber was ist, wenn mehr Geld übrig ist? Was macht ihr dann, wenn mehr übrig ist? Für diese Geschwister haben wir eine gute Nachricht, dieses Geld wird in ein Sadaqa Jariyah Projekt inshallah investiert, und zwar in den Umbau unserer Moschee. Inshallah, wo wir viele Geschwister, ich verspreche mir inshallah, so viel wir können einladen werden, Muslime und Nicht-Muslime. Und wir werden in dieser Moschee inshallah die Menschen inshallah einladen und inshallah ihnen die Schönheit des Islams zeigen. So, inshallah, wir beginnen jetzt unsere Frage- und Antwortrunde. Ich muss noch überlegen, wie wir das machen. Wenn ich nur dieses Mikrofon nehme, hört man mich überall, ja? Man hört mich hier unten und hört man mich oben auch? Okay, dann nehme ich jetzt nur dieses Mikrofon und setze mich zu Bruder Nouman in 3D und Überlänge. So. Wow. Wir hatten Zweifel, ob das System funktioniert. Es funktioniert. So, I selected one first question, which is this one. Can you read? So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I have a question regarding your Friday khutbah, which was English today. You said, we have to raise the concepts of Islam in our mosques, but the most time of us, we are in the kufr society. And the kufr society has an effect, does affect us much more than the atmosphere in the mosque. Because
among some young Muslims, that somehow we have to make a society into a perfect Islamic society and all of our problems will disappear. Because the time of the Khilafah and the time of the Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu and the time of the Prophet, things were perfect. Let me just tell you, maybe you haven't read enough history. Things have never, ever been perfect. Islam is not a religion that makes life perfect. Islam is a religion that deals with an imperfect world and teaches you how to live your life and navigate those solutions and to address those challenges. In the time of Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, there were plenty of problems. In the time of Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu, even more problems. Even in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Medina, when he was already there as the head of state, there were huge, huge problems. Allah did that because He's teaching us that life will never be without challenges. And when you keep calling a society a kufr society, a kufr society, a kufr society, and this is a problem, because if you call an entire society kufr, then you've actually rejected any care or any concern for them. Every prophet of Allah loved their people. Allah's messenger said, wait. Allah's messenger was told, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ. You will not guide whoever you love. And in the ayah we learn that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam loved disbelievers. And Allah said, even if you love them, you cannot guide them necessarily. So in the ayah we learn two things. Guidance is in the hand of Allah, and there is nothing wrong with you loving your people. Nuh alayhi salam invited his people for 950 years. And for 950 years, after that he said, إِنِّي دَعُوتُ قَوْمِي لَيْلًا وَنَهَارًا. I invited my people. He doesn't say, إِنِّي دَعُوتُ هَؤُلَاءِ الْقَوْمِ لَيْلًا وَنَهَارًا. I invited these people, these kuffar. No, he said, these are my people, Ya Rabb, I love them. Ya qawmi inni lakum nadhirun mubin. Not ya ayyuhal kuffar inni lakum nadhirun mubin. Ya qawmi inni lakum nadhirun. My people, I love you. I am a warner to you. When the people of the cave were made to stand trial because they believed, Ashabul Kahf were going to be sentenced to death because they believed. They turned to their nation and they did say, هَؤُلَاءِ الْكُفَّارِ اتَّخَذُوا مِن دُونِهِ آلِهَةً. لا لم يقولوا ذلك بل قالوا هؤلاء قومنا اتَّخَذُوا مِن دُونِهِ آلِهَةً. Those are our people. They have taken other gods besides Allah. Wallahi. The messengers of Allah left one unified legacy, and that is you have to love the people you live around, even if they are kuffar, because you will not be able to give da'wah to people that you hate. You will not give da'wah to a society that you hate. Hating a people and hating a society, even if they are kuffar, is against the teachings of Islam. So when you are saying, I have to be in kufr society all the time, what am I supposed to do? Actually, you're around the people that need your courtesy. They need your character. They need you to be the example so they can see what life is about. Islam is not about a government. Islam is about guidance of human beings. Governments aren't a living thing. And the great governments of the past, they were there because the citizenship was of great human beings. It didn't just come out of nowhere. Another question in this list was, what is the quickest way to establish Sharia? Start praying Fajr at the masjid. Start calling your mother every day. Stop sending her to voicemail. Stop yelling at your father. Establish Sharia in your family, friend. Before you talk about establishing Sharia in a government. In your own household, how many violations of deen? From you, not from others, from you. You're supposed to be the source of guidance and love to your own family. A young man came to me in Chicago with the same thing. Ya akhi, it was a great talk. MashaAllah, you're trying to give people iman. But what about establishing Islam? And I listened to him for 20 minutes. By the way, I have been in those groups when I was learning about Islam. I know your arguments before you tell me them. I'm older than you, I know. I've done this 15 years ago already. I know each one of those arguments inside out. This guy was telling me his arguments, 20 minutes go by. I said, bro, stop. You were going to make the following point, point number 3. Then you were going to make point number 4 and point number 5. I listed it for him. I said, you took too long. It should have taken you 15 minutes to make 5 points. And these were the 5 points you were going to make. But you're still on point number 2. You're taking too long, I have to eat dinner. And he was a little shocked, like, maybe. And I said, you've been attending a particular kind of halaqah and discussion, and you've learned these terms. It's only been maybe, what, 1 month, 2 months? Because you're not very good at it yet. And he said, maybe. I was like, also, you like to get together in restaurants that are open late at night so you can smoke some hookah and discuss the establishment of Islam until 2, 3 in the morning with your friends. And you usually don't call your parents much, and you usually miss a lot of Fajr. Maybe. I was like, go, start praying Fajr, call your parents, we'll talk in a couple of months. Don't argue with me or anyone else about these ideas that you haven't even deeply understood yet. This is a profound history of Islam. Islam comes to a land and it rises from the people and not through a language of hate. It never rises through a language of hate. Every messenger, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْأُمَّةِ لِلْعَالَمِينَ لِلْعَالَمِينَ. I sent you as a loving mercy for all people, for the Europeans, for the Americans, for the Africans, for the Asians, for the Hindus, for the Buddhists, for the atheists, for the agnostics. I sent you as a mercy for all of them. And if we are the ambassador of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, where is our rahmah? Where's our loving mercy to them? They can use hateful speech towards us, but we will respond with love and mercy because we are followers of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You know? I'm sorry that I'm sounding angry, but it's time we woke up. And sometimes young guys need to be woken up a little bit, shaken up a little bit. I don't want to turn this into an argument, but please think carefully about what I'm saying. We have gone through this in the United States. When I come to Europe, I was telling some brothers, when I come to Europe and I hear some of these arguments, I feel like you guys are going through what we went through 15 years ago. And our ulama already discussed these things and resolved these issues and we moved on. We moved on. And I feel like we owe you that explanation now. You have to come back. Somebody even asked the question, is it okay to live in a kufr society? Should we go back to the Muslim countries? Please tell me which Muslim country, because we have to raise our children according to Islam. Please tell me where are you going to raise your children according to the teachings of Islam? You're going to take them to Pakistan? Where are you going to go? Half the Muslim world is on fire. The other half that's not on fire is celebrating hellfire. Honestly, there are clubs opening up all over the Muslim world. There are underground drugs that are circulating all over the Muslim world. I went to Hajj and I was depressed. You know? You go to the Haram, you see the Kaaba, you cry, but you go 4 miles outside of the Haram, and what do you see? What do you see? You're standing there looking at, Jabal al-Nur. You're looking at the mountain where the angel came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but you're standing in a pile of trash. You're hearing the adhan go off, and the Muslims hear the adhan and say, MashaAllah, at least we have that. And we walk into the masjid, as you're walking into the masjid, there are children that are disabled that are selling calendars. Is that Islam? My heart was bleeding and I was like, we can talk about, we have to establish Sharia. Sharia, the first principle of Sharia was justice and concern for people. And the first thing that came into Sharia was concern for non-Muslims. Did you know that? The first thing that came in Sharia was, why is the baby girl being buried? The first thing that came of practical consequences, why are people cheating other people in business? And those were not Muslims cheating Muslims in business. Those were non-Muslims cheating non-Muslims in business. Those were non-Muslim families burying their daughters alive. These were problems of injustices done by non-Muslims against non-Muslims, and those are the first things the Quran dealt with. Because Quran came as a message of justice for humanity, not just for one group of people. Why would the Quran talk about people it doesn't even care about? It just wants to control them and kick them out and make them secondary citizens. We don't even study the entire Quran. Wallahi, my brother, you can disagree with me, you can hate me after this talk. It's okay. I still love you. You're still my younger, you're my angry little brother. It's okay. So listen, don't listen to me. Study the entire Quran. Read it from beginning to end, even if with a brief tafsir. Don't quote me the 3 ayat you memorized to make your point. Don't do that. Don't use the Quran to make a dalil for your arguments. The Quran is huda from beginning to end. Understand it holistically. Understand it in its entirety. So you develop a way of thinking. The Quran is a way of thinking. It's not just a set of deletes. It's very easy to pick one ayah from there, one ayah from there, and one ayah from there, and make your philosophy. Our philosophy is the entire book. الَّذِينَ جَعْلُوا الْقُرْآنَ عِضِينَ. They took the Quran and they tore it to pieces. They only like quoting one ayah from Surah Al-Ra'd, one ayah from Surah Al-Saf, one ayah from Surah, I know. I know the curriculum. Okay? And I know where it came from. You have to know its history too. So please, we need, I told you the renaissance of this ummah will come from where? A deep thinking about what? The Quran. We are studying the Quran in a shallow way. When we start studying in a profound way, then inshallah ta'ala our thoughts will rise above this rhetoric. And we will see things in a much deeper way than we used to think before. Inshallah ta'ala. I know I took like 4 or 5 questions in one shot, but I thought it was necessary. I hope to benefit.
What should we do about the brothers and sisters who are into declaring everybody to be innovators? Muqtadi'a, under the code of Salafiyya and Jar and Ta'dil.
My brothers and sisters in Islam, I have a respect for every single group out there. I have disagreements with them too. But let me just make a couple of quick points. The idea of establishing something, and I'll just talk about myself, I won't even talk about groups, because I have way too much respect for ulama, even the ones I disagree with, I have way too much respect for them. I'll talk about myself. In my own studies, I have dedicated the last 12, 13 years into the study of the Quran. When I decide to study, there's different levels of study. When I study an ayah in depth, I study 30 tafasir. And I study at least 15 linguistic sources. And I do a lexical analysis of the ayah. Then I study contemporary literature on the ayah. Then I study Orientalist literature on the ayah. Then I study Christian rhetoric and polemics on the ayah. And then I come to a conclusion, maybe. Then I discuss it with a couple of scholars and then I present something. That's my method when I study the Quran in depth. Now, I believe that the Book of Allah and the Word of Allah, if you are going to use it to judge people, then you have to know it in depth. In depth. You will find most of the time I don't talk about a hadith. I do not talk about a hadith most of the time because I have too much respect for the subject, because the few hadith that I have studied, when I sat with a muhaddith and studied them, and went through the sharh of the hadith, and the entire historical analysis of the hadith, I realized that if I read the hadith from the Bukhari and translated it, if I just translated it, and then I judged you according to that hadith, I would have been doing a huge injustice because I didn't understand the entire story behind this beautiful hadith. So I realized then that just reading the translation of a hadith and not even knowing the entire context can lead me to say things about Islam that aren't true. So I stopped. And the only time I'll speak about a hadith is if I actually sat with a scholar and discussed the issue. Now there are different kinds of hadith. Some hadith are dua. You should know them. Every Muslim should know them. Some hadith are advice about character, like al-majalisu bil-amana. When you gather with each other, then you should trust each other and you shouldn't share things in a meeting with other people. It's a beautiful hadith. Hadith about character. Right? Hadith about, you should know those hadith. But then there are hadith about halal and haram. There are hadith about what is acceptable and what is unacceptable. There are hadith about what is wajib, what you have to do, what you absolutely must do. Those are the hadith where you can judge somebody, right? In the hadith where you are going to judge someone, you better study them in depth before you say anything. Can I give you one example? I'll give you two examples. Here's one example. The Prophet ﷺ forbade qaza. Qaza is to cut the hair unevenly. In other words, when you have, how you guys have those? I don't know if you have those anymore, but, I don't know, you have like this, it's shaved over here, and it's like the helmet on top. And you can put a ponytail on it too. Or you could do the rooster thing, like, you know what I'm talking about? Right, so, the Prophet ﷺ said that you shouldn't cut, the hair should be even. Like when you get a haircut, it should all be even, qaza, right? That's what it means. And some people take this hadith from a sahih narration, and they say, well, if your hair over here is short, and this one is 2 inches longer, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. So So if your hair got long, you have to take a ruler and just measure across so it's all, even. But actually, the explanation you will not find in the book of Hadith. You will find it in the shuruh of the Hadith, the explanations of the Hadith. The Prophet ﷺ saw a child. He saw a child whose hair was chopped over here, over here, over here, some long, some short, some long, short. It was a crazy haircut. It was a crazy haircut, like this child fell on a lawnmower or something. And it's just something happened to him, And the Prophet ﷺ saw this and he forbade, and he asked, why did he do this? Why did his parents do this? They said, because this is a beautiful child, and if he gets a nice haircut, he's going to look very good, and if he looks very good, then shaitan will possess him. Jinns will come and take on him, because he'll get the evil eye. Urdu speakers here, nazar lag jayegi. That's why we gave him an ugly haircut so he can stay safe from the demons. And the Prophet ﷺ said, you should not do this. And he told them to get an even haircut. Now if you study the history, what do you find? The hadith is not about haircuts. The hadith is about not being superstitious. You should not believe jinns will come and take over your child if he looks cute. You should not be terrified of the evil eye and do crazy things as a result. Now if you don't know the history, what do you think the hadith is about? You think it's about haircuts. But if you know the hadith, you know it's about superstitions. Doesn't it change your perspective entirely? Entirely. I'll give you one more. This one's even more fun. I studied with Shaykh Abdullah Adhami, who's a great muhaddith, mashallah, may Allah protect him. He's a Syrian scholar. I was studying this hadith with him, in which Umayma radiallahu ta'ala anha, a woman came to the Prophet ﷺ, and she asked if she could pray in the masjid. And he said, no, you should pray in the innermost part of your home. So don't even pray in the living room, don't even pray in the bedroom, pray in the closet of the bedroom. Now some people use this hadith and quote this hadith and say women should not come to the masjid. Because the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, women should pray where? In the innermost part of their home. Okay, let's take a step back a little bit. It's easy to quote the hadith. When a woman is about to go into, hey, don't you know the hadith? It's sahih. I got the hadith right here. If you want, I can slap you with it, so you can go back home. Now listen, here's some history. Umayma radiallahu ta'ala anha was married. And this woman was married to a husband, a sahabi, who was obsessed with her. He was obsessed with her. Actually, you have to learn the other text. This woman used to pray at home, and he used to poke her while she was praying. So she came to the Prophet ﷺ and she said, my husband pokes me when I'm praying. So the Prophet called him. He called him. And he said, why do you poke her when you pray? And he said, well, this is a beautiful answer. He says, she stole my surahs. You know what happened? He used to make salah. And she used to pray next to him in jama'ah. He recited the Quran. She heard it one time, hafizat surah. She memorized the surah. And now she's praying on her own. He goes, hey, that was my surah, hey. But let's analyze this psychologically a little bit. He was so obsessed with this woman, even when she was paying attention to God on her own, he got jealous. And he used to poke her. So she said, I should come to the masjid. I should come to the masjid and pray. Now why does she want to come to the masjid and pray? Because she wants to get away from Pokemon. So she wants to come to the masjid and pray. Now the husband got very upset. No, I don't want her to come to the masjid. If he's so jealous of her that he gets jealous even when she talks to God, what do you think is going to happen if she goes to the masjid for half an hour? Where is she? She left me? She coming back? She divorced me? She finally different? He's going to go crazy. So the Prophet ﷺ told this woman, listen, go in the innermost part of your house and pray there. Why the innermost part of your house? So he can't find you when you're praying. And if you come to the masjid and pray, it might destroy your marriage. So you need to fix your marriage situation first. So this is the advice I'm giving you. Now another group of women, also Sahih Hadith, another group of women come to the Prophet ﷺ and they say, Ya Rasulullah, we come to the masjid for Fajr. And when we come to the masjid for Fajr in Medina, we have to walk through sewage. There's a place where there's, you know what sewage is, yes? You have to walk through filth. So our clothes get dirty. So how can we pray when our clothes are dirty? So now what do you expect the Prophet to say? Stay home and pray. The Prophet told them, alayhi salatu wasalam, don't worry, if your clothes get dirty, the dirt from the rest of the way will clean it up. You still come and pray at the masjid. These are women leaving at 3 a.m. and 2:30 a.m. and 4 a.m. in the morning walking to the masjid, and they're not driving, they're walking, and it's a long walk. And the Prophet said, you still come and pray in the masjid. Is it true that we read a hadith and we jump to conclusions? We think we know what it means immediately? Does it require more study? Does it require more analysis? So my advice to you is, if ulama are passing a judgment, if scholars are saying, this people are wrong, those people are wrong, those people are wrong, maybe they have a right to do it because they are scholars. You don't have a right to copy them and judge people. Let them do it, you don't become scholars. You don't become judges. كُونُوا دُعَاةً لَا قُضَاةً. Be da'is, be callers to Allah, don't be judges. Especially the young people here. If you don't have a sanad al-hadith, if you're not a muhaddith, if you don't have those kinds of ijazat, if you have no qualifications in these texts, then you should not be talking. One time I was sitting in a restaurant, and there were two brothers together. One brother had a long beard, one brother didn't have a beard. And there was an alim with us, there was Shaykh Abdul Nasir with us. And the brother with the beard turned to the brother without a beard and said, your face is a bid'ah. In the restaurant, in front of everybody. Your face, you should really follow the sunnah, you should grow your beard. This is haram for you. Every day, when you shave, you are actually disobeying the Rasul of Allah. Maybe your salat won't even be, and he's going. And Abdul Nasir, he's usually a nice guy. But he stopped. He said, hold on, brother. Where is this hadith? Who narrated it? Who are the people who narrated it? Who did they teach it to? How was it implemented in Medina? How was it implemented among the first generation? What is the Arabic of this hadith? What does the word lihya mean? What does the word qussu mean? What do these words mean? What are their lexical analyses? What are the differences of the linguists about these words? What about the people of fiqh who have studied these ahadith and have discussed the evidences to be derived from them? What about the practice of different sahaba in regards to these ahadith? Do you know any of that? He goes, brother, you're embarrassing me. I said, yeah, but you're embarrassing him. If you don't know, be quiet. Just be quiet. These are words of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We are not supposed to use them to insult people, to judge people. That is the realm of the people of ilm, the people of serious knowledge. And you don't become, and a lot of times, wallahi, when you go to the ulama that they quote, when you go to the ulama, they are very sad that people use them to spread this. They're very sad that people don't really know much and they're using it and judging people so easily. Our deen is not about judging people. That is not a sunnah that the Prophet left, alayhi salatu wasalam. That is not a practice we find among the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala ajma'in. So if you really want genuine Islam, then let's start with the etiquette of Islam, the mannerisms of Islam. Before you're quick to judge people, start with the mannerisms. And again, I don't say this to insult one group or to legitimize another group. Wallahi al-azim, I have ulama that are mentors to me, that I respect deeply, that are from across different schools of thought. And I have equal respect for them. Even when I disagree with them, I have equal respect for them. And I make dua for them and their families. So I'm not here to tell you this group is bad and this group is good. That is not my job. Because I see good in all the groups. I see good in all the ulama. What I don't see good in is young people who are too emotional and not mature in their education becoming judges for the community. That isn't healthy.
I watched your video on YouTube, everybody can watch it, about arrogance. And I think I still have some arrogance in me. Give me please some tips to get rid of this arrogance. Thanks.
Okay, this is the last one because I'm getting hungry. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to answer this question, then I'm going to sit over here for like 15 minutes. And then you can ask whatever questions, come up and ask whatever questions. I'm going to go over there and sit for 15 minutes and you guys can ask whatever questions. But don't come and say, can I take a picture with you? I have a very important question. Can I take a picture?
Don't do that. Ask me anything else. If you want to take a picture, don't tell me about it. Just do it secretly. Just go behind me and go like that. And just do it. Okay? Don't tell me about it. Okay. And no selfies. Don't do it. Okay. So now, about arrogance. May Allah protect me and you and all of us from arrogance. Here are some tips, some litmus tests that you can use to help yourself, as I try to help myself, fight arrogance. First of all, self-esteem is something healthy. To have a good opinion of yourself is not a bad thing. We're supposed to have a love not just for others, but also for ourselves. وَإِنَّ لِنَفْسِكَ عَلَيْكَ حَقًّا. Even yourself has a right over you. It's okay sometimes, by the way, for instance, if your child did something good, and you said, good job, and some fathers say, no, don't say good job, he'll become arrogant. Ya salam. You're supposed to say good things to your children. Encouragement is a part of this deen. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to praise things about the Sahaba in front of other Sahaba. He used to say, look at the zuhud of, Abu al-Ghafari, he reminds me of Isa. This man is so spiritual, he reminds me of Jesus. And you say that to somebody, they might actually. But actually, he hears that and he knows he needs the encouragement. He needs the encouragement. It will not make him arrogant. There's a difference between encouraging people and complimenting them. That you should do. And mothers and fathers and husbands and wives, sometimes husband says, I never say anything nice to my wife because I don't want her head to get big, You're supposed to compliment your wife, even if it hurts you. And if you're Pakistani, it hurts a lot. But you're supposed to compliment your wife. Now, on the other side, what about when you receive a compliment? What are you supposed to do? First of all, لَا نُزَكِّي عَلَى اللَّهِ أَحَدًا. We declare ourselves, we're not spiritually clean. Allah knows better than we do. And I'm reminded of the words of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu when he used to be praised. He used to say, Allahumma a'tini bima yaqulun, wa la tu'akhidni bima la ya'lamun. Allah, give me based on what they're saying. And don't grab me over what they don't know. Somebody came and told me today, may Allah give me the highest place in Jannah. I was like, Ya Allah, give me please. And I said, Ya Allah, I know I don't deserve it. They don't know. They only know the YouTube me. You know the real me. You know the me at home. You know the me with my kids. You know the me that nobody else knows. You know the me that's annoying. You know the me that's lazy. You know the me that's not perfect. You know the me that sometimes his mother gets angry with. His father gets frustrated with. His sister gets angry with. They only know the YouTube guy. But you know who I am. Ya Allah, even though you know who I am, still give me Jannah. That's what you're supposed to do. Talk to Allah immediately. When somebody praises you, you talk to Allah. You say, Ya Allah, And here's what you don't do. Somebody says, MashaAllah, wonderful lecture. You say, yes, I know. Now here's another litmus test. Another tip you can use. When it becomes hard for you to take criticism. When it becomes hard for you to take criticism. And when you immediately get angry at the person who criticizes you. Then you have arrogance. I'll say that again. When it's hard for you to be criticized, and, what was the second part? You get angry at the critic. You get angry at the person criticizing you. Then you have arrogance. Even if they are angry, even if they are wrong, if you get angry, you have pride issues. You have to fight that. You have to fight that. They are still your brother. There are people who email me, they say things like, you are the Dajjal. You are calling people to kufr. I hope I see you in the hellfire. I get those emails. Sometimes I actually get people coming up to me, shaking my hand and saying, you are going to burn in hell. They say it. Now the guy who wrote to me and said, I'll see you in hellfire, I responded to him. First of all, I said, may Allah bless you. May He bless your family. May He reward you. May He reward your family. May He bring good out of you and good out of your family and your children. May He forgive you and your parents. And second of all, please don't say, I will see you in hell, because I hope you're in Jannah. To see me, you'd have to be next to me. So, so I hope I see you in Jannah. So, you don't have to, oh yeah? Well, I'll see you there first. No. You don't have to do that. There are people who come up to me, I say, Assalamu alaikum, they say hello. I don't think they're Muslim. They do. I say, oh, that's cool. Take care then. Assalamu alaikum again. And they still respond. And it's fine. It doesn't bother me. It does not bother me. One of my best friends in life, Sheikh Umar Sulaiman, some of you know him, went to Hajj. Some guy came up to him and said, you know, you and that guy Nouman, they are the Dajjal. And he said to them, well, there's only one Dajjal. So the guy says to him, you're right. Okay, it's Nouman. So then Umar says, yes, and walked away. It's okay. Don't get angry at people. Let them say things. It's okay. It's okay. They're still family, and maybe they'll regret it later. There are people who will regret things later, you know? So don't get angry at people who get angry at you. Don't be averse to criticism. That's a great tip against arrogance itself, right? The final tip I'll give you about arrogance is respect to your elders. No matter how unfair they become, no matter how wrong they become, when you raise your voice against them, when you say, I can't take it anymore, I've respected you for 3 whole minutes, my meter has run out, then you have an arrogance problem. Our elders are a test of our character. Sometimes Allah gives you a gift. He gives you difficult parents. It's a gift from Allah because you had no other way of learning humility. Maybe everything else was going to make you arrogant, so He gave you a difficult family just so you can learn some humility. Abu Hanifa, you know who that is? Rahimahullah? The founder of the most followed school of thought in all of the Ummah. The founding father of the science of fiqh. His mother used to say in the middle of the night, 2 a.m., middle of the night, grab the lamp, let's go. Because you know in the night they used to have to walk with a lamp. So he's holding the lamp and they're walking. And she goes a whole mile and she knocks on this guy's door and that guy comes out and the guy is a khatib, he's a lecturer. But he's not a scholar. He's not a scholar. And she says, I have a Sharia question for you. And the guy's like, he's looking at Abu Hanifa and he's going, and Abu Hanifa says, just answer her, please. Because his mother said to him, you don't know anything, who's going to listen to you? I want to listen to this guy. But he does it, he goes and Mom, listen, and it's fine. And then later on, the same guy would go back to Abu Hanifa and say, did I give the right answer? And he said, no, but don't tell my mother. MashaAllah. That's what, this is a very practical thing. It's not some crazy spiritual exercise that will keep you from arrogance. It's practical stuff. It's practical stuff. Be good to your parents even when they're not being good to you. It will teach you humility. It will keep you away from arrogance. May Allah protect all of us from arrogance. Okay, I'm not going to have the mic anymore. I'm going to sit over there. Sisters are free to ask questions for 10 to 15 minutes. Then I'm going to come to the brother's side, 10 to 15 minutes, inshallah. Oh, very important, very important. I forgot. The conference that these people put together, I saw a video of it. It is amazing. And you guys in this region absolutely need to attend. We have these things in America. I take my children every single year because it's important for Muslims to see other Muslims learning together, shopping together, eating together. They get to know that they're part of a community. So when they put a conference together, you guys better come. Takbir! Takbir!